Coming up on Look Today, well, demonstrators rallied outside Congresswoman Elise Stefanik's Glens Falls office yesterday to protest the federal tax plan. I've got details. And we've got updates on the new Saratoga City Charter Review Commission. More on that coming up. Plus, a kindergartner's idea of a perfect day comes true. This is a good one. We've got those details. All ahead on Look Today. Welcome everyone, I'm J. Hood Jackson and this is Look Today. On tonight's program, I sit down with Teddy Foster, campaign director for Universal Preservation Hall in Saratoga, and she's here to talk about a grant the hall recently received, as well as an update, as well as an exciting fundraiser that's happening next month. And I also sit down with Paul Hancock. Now he's the chair of the Capital District Democratic Socialists of America. And we're joined by Robert Landry. He's executive director of the Glens Falls Housing Authority. And they're both here to talk about the very important issues of poverty and affordable housing. Plus, we've got your weather for the Tri-North counties. But first, these headline stories. However, right before this headline story, I just want to say something. We've been experimenting here with some equipment to try to upgrade our signal. And we blew it yesterday. Anybody who watched Look Today yesterday was wondering who that guy was that looked like a tomato with the yellow background. Well, I'm sorry about that. We are experimenting with a couple of different kinds of equipment, so bear with us over the next couple of days as we try a few things. In our lead story, demonstrators rallied outside Congresswoman Elise Stefanik's Glens Falls office yesterday to protest the federal tax plan. Now, many were dressed in costumes for dramatic effect. And there was even a massive inflatable chicken, which some said bore a striking resemblance to a certain president of the United States. Well, 21st District constituents are calling on Elise Stefanik to really help repeal this tax bill. Demonstrators also called for Trump to release his tax returns. Now, we were at the rally where we spoke to 21st District congressional candidate Don Boyajian.
Activism that we've seen over the past year is so telling, and it's not just within our communities here, but it's all over the country. People are realizing, and it's many of the people that got President Trump elected, that voted for him, that he's actually working against our interests as working people. And we need a Congress and an administration that's committed to advancing the interests and the needs of our working people in this country. And that's what I'm fighting about, and that's what I want to get done, and that's why I want to fight for my community.
Now, Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, by the way, will be here on Friday. I'll be interviewing her, and this topic is surely going to come up. All right, in other news, we've got more updates on the new Saratoga City Charter Review Commission and their duties. Well, at the recent Saratoga City Council meeting, Vince D. Leonardis, who's chairman of the commission, brought forth a proposal budgeting up to $40,000. Now, the proposal was approved. We were at the council meeting where Vince detailed what the budget will actually be used for.
Since created by the mayor, the Charter Review Commission has met on two separate occasions. At that most recent meeting we had, we did establish a proposed budget for the council to consider. That was a dollar amount up to $40,000, which includes expenses that would be related to legal counsel, a clerk, communications, and mailings and postage that will ultimately be necessary.
Now remember, you can watch Saratoga City Council meetings in their entirety, unedited, right here on Look TV, or of course on demand on looktvonline.com. Switching from news to weather, well, the skies, they say cleared today with sunshine. Not from what I saw, still pretty cloudy out there. But we can expect to see some rain tomorrow. Let's see how the rest of the week is shaping up. For a more detailed look at our weather, let's head to the Glens Falls Weather Center for a look at your first forecast.
Thanks, Jesse. I'm meteorologist Clarence Sponsor with your first look weather update on Look TV. Let's take a look. We currently have that low pressure system, few funnel boundaries making their way into portions of the northeast tonight. Also a departing low pressure system featuring a trough stretching into portions of southeast Canada that could impact our area. Lows tonight will be dropping into the lower 30s, maybe some upper 20s in a few isolated spots. So Be careful if you're going to be out there on the roadways. We could see some ice on those bridges. They tend to freeze up quicker than the main roadways. 32 is the expected low here in Glens Falls. 32 also in Albany, about 31 in Scranton, Pennsylvania. And we'll see a possible snow shower or two with mainly cloudy skies. West wind about 5 or so miles per hour. Rain and snow chances likely. Could see about 5/10 of an inch of accumulation. 40 degrees the expected high. A snowy start as you walk out the door, so be prepared for slippery roadways and temperatures in the mid-30s. We might have some calm southeast winds, so wind chills will not be a concern. And spring weather is eventually upon us, but we have to get through Thursday and Friday first. 80% chance of rain and snow, as I mentioned, on Thursday. 40% chance of rain and snow on Friday. Highs in the upper 40s, so we'll eventually go all rain there. Then the sun comes out, and as that sun heats our atmosphere, will warm up these temps eventually into the lower 50s in the second half of the weekend. Early next week, you might want to get out there and enjoy the nice weather. Still need those sweaters, but 50s don't sound too bad after the winter we had. That was your weather update here on First Look Weather on Look TV. I'm meteorologist Clarence Sponsor. Now to send it back to you, Jesse.
Thanks very much, Clarence. All right, back to the news. Here's a great story. Well, recently, kindergartner Mason Richards sent a letter to the Chronicle newspaper describing his wish for a perfect day, which, by the way, would be spending a day with a police officer. Well, Warren County Sheriff's Office granted that wish. Mason rode in Patrol Officer Joshua Fish's car. Now, we spoke to the officer about granting this wish.
It means a lot. It really does. You know, it's not every day we get to make a positive impact with children. And whenever we get the opportunity to do so, it's one that we want to take.
We also had the opportunity to talk to Mason's parents, Chad and Amanda Richards.
I was really surprised when we got the phone call from the school and super excited. It's awesome that, you know, they would call us and reach out to do something like this. This is definitely one of his dreams for sure.
It is. You know, it's, you know, police officers, SWAT teams, armed forces. It's just something that Mason really enjoys being around. You know, when he's home, he's playing with Nerf guns. He's dressing up like SWAT teams, and you know, he likes tactical stuff. So, you know, we're happy to see him be able to do this. You know, it's going to mean a lot to him. We're really happy that the Warren County Sheriff's Department reached out. It's really going to have a good impact on his life, and he's going to be super excited. He's going to talk about this for months.
How cool is that? Although I must confess, some of us here were talking about this, and we thought maybe when he gets to college, maybe he won't want to ride in a police car. Up next, we sit down with Teddy Foster. She's campaign director for Universal Preservation Hall, and she's here to talk about a grant that the Hall recently received, an update on the restoration, as well as great fundraising event that's happening next month. I also sit down with Paul Hancock, chair of the Capital District Democratic Socialists of America. And we're joined by Robert Landry. He's executive director of the Glens Falls Housing Authority, and they're here to talk about the very important issues of poverty and affordable housing. But first, if you see news happening, you want to share a story idea, how about join us for an interview? Then give us a call on the hotline. The number is 798-8000. Well, that's all the time we have for this edition of Look Today. I've got a couple of lookouts. Just a reminder, we will be at the Park Theater later on today for their press conference for the grand opening of the Park Theater. Gorgeous restoration of a historic theater in downtown Glens Falls. And a lookout has to go to the guest from my interview, Teddy Foster, and of course to Chuck Voskanyan for another absolute killer Rockman record club, which was last night at Cafe Lena. It was Jimi Hendrix. Over the top. I'm telling you, this series is becoming incredibly popular. Okay, that's it. There's a new Saratoga City Council meeting tonight. Don't forget that. And don't forget, you can tune in tomorrow night for the stories that matter to you. Good night, everyone.